Bhaskar sir, we are ready to go.
Yeah, thank you, Satish. Yeah, welcome everyone for the day two session. Good morning, all. So, yesterday, just a recap of what we have seen yesterday. We have seen what is RPA and the history of an RPA or an hierarchy of an RPA, and what are the various tools or the various products available in the RPA world, and how we can able to scale up our bot using the GPT model which is available in the market right now using any of our RPA products. And I just given you a glimpse of what is automation anywhere and what is UiPath and how to create a sample program out of it or just a welcome program out of it. So those were the areas which we covered yesterday. So in today's session, we will be speaking in depth about UiPath Studio, where we will be covering multiple basic functionalities. Then we will be gradually moving to the next level of operations. Okay, what are the topics we will be covering today? Today we will be speaking about activities in depth, and we will be speaking about packages in depth. Whenever I am speaking about activities, I will be covering you the properties as well. I'll be covering you the properties as well. In terms of packages, what is the use of packages, why packages has been created, how to upgrade it and how to downgrade it, and how I can able to download a package. So those kind of functionality we will be covering in the packaging section. And other than this three sections, right, activities, properties and packages section, we have multiple other sections in our workbench or in our UiPath Studio. I will be providing you some glimpse on all of those sections so that you can able to play around it. So those section and what is the purpose of it, why we need it. Then we will be going to the important topic, how to create a bot, or how to create a reusable solution, or how to design a solution out of the product, out of the UiPath Studio. So we will be speaking of the three major components, which is sequence, flowchart, state machine. We have few others as well, but we won't be covering it as per the today's session. Then we will be moving on to the variables part because it is the basic component for every programming language. The same way we will be speaking of the variables part. Then we will be speaking about arguments and collections, how to import a collection, where I can able to get those collections information. And we will be speaking mainly about the scope of a variable, or in the other way it is called as an access identifiers, or in the other way it is called as access identifiers. Then we will be moving to the control statements like if else, multiple if statement, nested if, those kind of if statements will be seen. And there was a bifurcation between sequence and flowchart, so we will be seeing the difference between it. Then we will be moving on to the loop statements like the for loop or the while loop. We can create and we can use it on the go. So these are the topics we will be covering it today. I hope everyone is good and we are ready to go. Okay, I just opened the yesterday's program, what we have done. Just to give a glimpse, I just opened the UiPath Studio. I created a fresh project. I have provided the name of the project as well as the description of my project. And this is the main working area in the main module or a main class. In that, if you see, I have just dragged and dropped a message box, or I clicked on my plus icon in order to add a activities from here or an action from my activities panel or my activities sections. So the first point is an activities. What is an activity? What is an activity? Just what we do in a regular day activities, we will be picking up our phone. We will be ensuring whether it has been connected to my network or not, whether it has been connected to my internet or not, either via your Wi-Fi or via your data providers, like either it may be a 4G or a 5G. We will be just ensuring whether those icons has been toggled properly in your mobile devices. Then the next step what we do, we used to just scroll to the notification when we may be accessing some applications like Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp Messenger, even Snapchat, those kind of applications we used to do. What operation we have done in our mobile phone, everything is an action. Everything is an action, or it is an activity in a sequential way. It is an activity in a sequential way, like picking up a phone is an activity, unlocking your phone is an activity. If you provide an invalid credential, then it has to throw an exception. Same kind of stuffs. Everything for every action, there is a package related to it, or there is an activity which was pre-built by UiPath, and those actions has been populated for us in order to make our life easier, where you can able to drag and drop any kind of actions which is available here, and you can able to perform the expected operation. You can able to perform the expected operations out of it. I hope you can able to give me a minute. I'm just resharing the screen. Okay. Sorry for the glitch. If you see, this is the window I'm just picking up out on the activity section and the main area where you will be creating your module out of it. So if you see the panels or multiple sections here, this is the main toolbar where you can able to play around with the basic functionality, which we'll be speaking as we progress, right? The first section or the panel which we will be using mostly, about 95% we will be using is our activities panel, where you can able to find all your activities. So how my activities has been related to my project, if you see, there is two section which was hidden here. One is project section and one is snippet section. If you click on your project, you can able to see a project name here, project name or a file name of your project. So this is my project name. In this project name, there are multiple dependencies. I hope everyone has used Python so far, just to create some module or just to create some functions out of it. If you see, you will be using some import keyword before you have been starting a program. What is the use of import? We are just invoking the reusable function which is created and it has been published already by the Python community. We are just reusing it for our need. Same way in UiPath as well, we have the same kind of concept where a predefined model has been published already by the UiPath development team, and we can able to consume it. How we can able to consume it? By use of actions or activities. So this is my project and these are my base dependencies. Which will be imported whenever you have been creating any project. It will be automatically imported from the cloud server or from the environment where your orchestrator has been connected. So orchestrator will have all this predefined information in place. If orchestrator doesn't have, they have a dedicated server to hold all these predefined packages. The best example is in Python. If you want to install the pandas package, what we will be doing, we will be opening our command prompt and we will be installing the keyword pip install pandas or pip install numpy. So otherwise pip install scikit-learn. So these are the packages we will be just importing in order to perform some data related stuffs. Or if you want to create some data science related projects, then we will be importing all those packages. Same way, here, whenever we have been creating a project, this are the basic packages which will get imported. If you want to import other packages, yes, we can able to import other packages which is available in the market. Just for our scenario, if I want to import one more package, I will be accessing my manage package section, which will connect to the cloud server, by which I can able to pull the respective packages which is available in the market. Otherwise, if you want to create your own package, you are well and good. You can able to create it by yourself, and you can able to make it more reusable, and you can able to share within your organization, or you can able to make it public by registering into the UiPath package sections, and you can able to publish your package, by which everyone across the world, whoever using UiPath Studio, can able to access those packages. So it is how the packages has been playing around, exactly similar to the programming languages which we have seen, like the pandas package, numpy package. Everything will have an updation in a frequent interval. Everything will have an updation in a frequent interval. If you see, there is a numerals followed by the package. There is a numerals followed by a package. What it mean? What it provide? What kind of information it provides to us? The information it provides to us is the version of the package. It provides the version of the package. So if you see, say for example, you create a bot today. You created a bot today using this basic version. Using this available version, you created a bot. You have used an Excel package, like you have performed some Excel operation, you have used the Excel package. You will be using the text package because the message boxes and other stuffs are captured using the test activities. So this is the basic package which has been part of your project. So I have created the project using this 23 version, 23.4.3. After 1 year, you have been trying to run the bot, you found there was an issue. There was an issue in, just for an assumption, there was an issue in my message box activity. So what kind of step you will be doing? You will be just ensuring you will be upgrading your package. You will be upgrading your package, or you may be downgrading your package to a lower version as well, so that there won't be any issue in terms of the activities whatever they created. So the versions of each packages will be going in an incremental order. In an incremental order, everything has been managed and properly maintained in a centralized Git repository, by which only the specified version will be available for everyone. It is applicable both in community edition as well as in the enterprise model. So just to know what is there here, if you click on this, you can able to see something called manage dependency, remove dependency, import namespace. If I click on manage dependency, it will directly open up a window when I can able to access this manage dependency. Remove dependency is nothing but I can able to remove this dependency from my project because I am not using it. So just for our sake, I am just removing this system activities package. I am removing it, so it has to refresh the entire project. Definitely it will take some time because it has to rebuild the project once again. So for removing the package, it will take some milliseconds, then followed by that it will be recreating our project. Then it will be just ensuring the other dependencies has been loaded properly or not. So these are the steps it will be performed on the backend, so that there won't be any deviation in our project. If you see, after removing a dependency from my project, I could see there were multiple information which is populated in my output panel. There are multiple information populated in my output panel. It is just mentioning that those dependencies has been properly removed along with other namespaces along with other namespaces. Namespaces is nothing but it has been imported from the Microsoft community, Microsoft Visual Studio community, where they have created multiple namespaces. Namespaces is once again a reusable component as we invoke like in Python. Where we'll be installing some modules using the pip command, right? Same way, these namespaces are invoked from our VBA classes or from C# classes. Based out of all these namespaces, a package has been created. So these were the different packages which is associated with our UiPath system activity. Once I am removing my dependencies, all those namespaces has been removed automatically. So if you see, this message box is also a namespace. It is how they have created at the backend, due to which I could not able to perform any activity, and it is giving me a critical or a fatal information that I could not able to test it. If you see, I am saving this project, still the error is there, and there was a warning message here, and it has been abruptly showing there was an error occurred. If I want to try to debug or run my program, I'm just clicking on my run button. It will be directly popping up an error. There was a validation. I could not able to identify the message box. So as I mentioned, message box is an activity or a function which has been created with our system class, or it has been created within our system package. It is how they have designed at the backend. So in order to roll back, we will be going on to my manage package section. Then you can able to see there are multiple sections here. There were multiple sections here like settings, project dependencies, and all packages. So by default it will be in the project dependency. These are the default dependencies which has been added to this project. This has been the default dependencies which has been added to the project. If I click on any one of the activities, just assume we will be picking up the Excel activities, you can able to see there is an installed version which is 2.20, and this is the version available. There are multiple other versions available in the Git repository as well. If you want to use and explore other versions, yes, definitely you can able to use. If you see, this is the latest one. There are other previous version which may be a downgraded one, or there may be slight deviation in terms of the functionality. Here, if you see the testing activity, the current version is 23.4.1. There is one more version which is released by the dev community once again, which is in the preview stage, and they have mentioned it as 23.5.0. If you want to play around this version, yes, you can able to select this version and you can able to click on update, by which the package will get updated automatically. Same way in Python or in any programming languages, whenever we have been importing any common packages which is available in the market or which has been provided by their programming languages, as I quoted for NumPy, there is a version associated with it. If we have been going on with the default syntax to install a package like pip install NumPy, it will download the recent version, most recent version it will download and it will get installed. If you want to install a specific version of a NumPy, then we need to append the version at the end. After pip install NumPy, we need to add the version number. It may be 23.5, it may be 2.0 as well. We need to go through the articles of the same and we need to find the appropriate version. So it is how the versioning has been designed here. Now I need to install a package. These are the various packages which has been created and it has been published. If you see, it has been created by Prashant and this has been created by Manjula, by which you can able to create your own package and you can able to publish it, by which it will be tested and validated by the UiPath dev team. Then it will be get published for the global users. Here, if you see UiPath dot, I want to add my system packages because I have removed it, due to which I'm running out of an error. So if you type UiPath.system, all our UiPath package will start with the keyword UiPath. So UiPath.system, this is the package I need to install. So I don't need my previous version. So I'm going with the previous version 23.4.3. So if I want to click on install, it will start its processing. You can able to see icon here, it has started its processing. Then I need to click on save button, by which it will download the respective dependencies which is necessary for a system package to get installed, along with the namespaces. Yeah, it has been adding its dependencies here. If you see the current window, the error message has disappeared. The error message what we have faced in the message box section has disappeared, by which we can able to see there was no warning or a no fatal error information which has been populated in the main section has been removed properly. In the same way, in the output panel, all those information has been restored properly and everything is ready to use. So just resetted my project. I'm clicking on save. Then I'm debugging my program once again. During my debugging, now it has started my compilation activities because there is no compiler error. I hope everyone is very familiar with the compilation and runtime error. So it has started its compilation. Now we are good and we tested it and everything is done. Fine. We spoke much about the projects by which we can able to manage package. We have performed the operation, how to add a package and as well as how to remove a package, and what kind of implications we can able to see if we have removed a package, and what kind of operations we can able to do in terms of packages and in terms of versioning. So this is the key metrics we can able to play around the project section, because it is the important component in any of your projects which you have been building use your studio. Then comes the activities. All the activities has been interrelated with my packages. As I shown you, right, I have just intentionally removed my message box, due to which the message box activities has throwing me an error and it could not able to identify its message box class. Same way in the activities section, if I remove some packages, those related activities will get disappear from here. Will get disappear from here. So whenever you have been importing any packages or removing any packages, be very clear that it should not affect any of your existing automation piece. So those were the additional thing you need to check. In activity section, we have a filter operation here. You can able to filter based on a specific set of points. We have 2 points. We have 2 sections. One is activity section and trigger section. Within activities is nothing but all our operation. Triggers is nothing but based on the operation or based on the behavior of some other application, the bot has to initiate it. Just for an example, in a share drive or in my D drive, I created a folder. And I maintain it as an empty. Just to ensure we want to download the result of my entire department, right? In those scenarios. The folder is empty for every day. All of a sudden, I'm placing a file in that specific folder. Immediately, my bot starts to run. What it has been initiated there? Based on a trigger, based on a file which is get placed in a folder, and trigger has been created, and the trigger information has been passed on from my file explorer to my UiPath Studio using my UiPath Assistant. UiPath Assistant will sense the respective folder on which you created a trigger, triggers. Just to know the set of actions available under triggers, I'm just removing the activities panel. You can able to see very few components has been populated here. In app integration Outlook, if you see an Outlook main message trigger, this is the trigger. It gives us an information. Or it gives us a privileges whenever an email is received. This piece of automation has to be initiated. The best real-time example is whenever your professor has been sending out an email, to complete a project, or you need to kickstart your project. Okay, so based on the email from your professor, you can able to initiate a trigger by which you can able to run your bot. You can able to read your email subject, email body, and other stuffs. Based on the email body, you can able to capture the necessary information, and based out of it, you can able to send out a Facebook notification or a WhatsApp notification, so that it will get loaded automatically into the apps which you have been using on a day-to-day basis. So the communication flows like this. From your professor, there is an email sent to your email ID or to your common email ID for your entire set of people, right? A common email ID. So a trigger has been initiated to the common email ID. From that common email ID, a backend bot or a backend robot has get initiated, and it get the necessary information in place, and it sent those information to your end system, to your end devices. Using your multiple platforms or the multiple applications. So by which we have been eliminating the operation what you will be doing in your Gmail app or any app which you have been using for your communication perspective. So it is kind of a trigger. What about the system trigger? As I said, if a process is started, or if a file name is changed, or if a file get modified, or if a file is deleted, or if a new file is placed. So those were the different kind of triggers we can able to place, by which we can able to initiate our bot automatically. So I'm just going on with my activities as well. If you want to click by category, yes, we have the classic category as well. In terms of classic category, UiPath as an evolving product, right? They have started their journey somewhere around 2014, and they have drastically improved their UiPath. So they came up with an experience called classic experience and modern experience by onboarding the citizen developer. The citizen developer is nothing but what we speak on yesterday on Studio and Studio X differences. For a citizen developer, they have created some basic functionality by which they remove the purpose of writing a code, some code within our Studio. In order to use our classic components, yes, we have those features as well. If you don't need the classic components in place, then you can able to remove it. Every packages are interlinked with our project dependencies. So this is the high level of what an activity is and how it has been related to my project and how it has been interlinked with my dependencies and where I can able to download or upload or update my dependencies. So we have spoke much about the project activities and my managed packages. Then the sections or then the panels which we will be using on the go. If you see, there is a snippet panel here. Snippet panel is nothing but a reusable component which you may be using or which you may not be using. It is completely available within the project. If required, if it is absolutely needed, yes, you can able to use it. Something like a delay, there may be where you want to add some delay whenever you have been processing some operation, like 1 second, 10 second, 100 millisecond, 3 second, right? Those kind of seconds, delays kind of stuffs you can add, and some loops if you want to add for each file in a folder. Just for our use, they have created this kind of reusable component. If required, you can able to use it. If not, you can just skip it off and you can able to proceed with the next set of operation. So these were the snippet section, and we have covered all our left section. And in the bottom middle part, we have some three sections. The first section is a variable section. Variable section is where all our variables will get stored. Whenever you have been creating any variable, all those variables will be populated here. So we will be seeing in few minutes. Then comes the arguments. Arguments, just to give an insight on arguments. Say for example, I am creating two functions. Function A, function B, and if I want to transfer some information from function A to function B, how I can able to do it? Only methodology is using my arguments. Only methodology is by using arguments. In my function name, after my round brackets, we will be mentioning some keywords or you will be mentioning some variable name. Those variables are called arguments. Using that arguments, you can able to pass on the information from one module or from one function to other function or from one method to the other method. It's completely up to you. Same way, here also we will be creating arguments. These arguments will be used to cascade the information from one section to the other section. Then comes to the imports. Imports is nothing but once again namespaces. All these imports has been a part and parcel of this dependencies packages. For each packages there will be a dependency. So those namespaces has been imported here. If you want to import some external namespaces, yeah, absolutely fine. You can able to access the MSDN portal, Microsoft Developer Network portal, by which we can able to identify all the namespaces over there, because everything has been built using your Visual Basic and C# coding. Or the base of UiPath is a .NET platform. This is a .NET platform, so you can able to import all the namespaces from the .NET library. So it is how you can able to import and you can able to use it. Then comes the right side section. In the right side, you can able to see multiple panels here. The first panel is the object repository. Say for example, you have been working as a team. Your RPA team member is around 30 members. For a project, you have been working as a team of about 3 members, where you find some component can made as a reusable one. Some component can be created as a reusable one. In order to achieve those reusability, you can add all those components into your object repository. Repository is nothing but a place where you can able to store all your code. So it is like a bank where you can deposit all your cash which you have, so that it will be kept safe and you can able to access whenever you need it. Same way, it is also a repository for your objects or for your piece of code which can be created as a reusable one. So this is the main area which everyone will be using, because they will be trying to create some reusable components out of it. Then comes the properties panel. Properties panel, if you see, it will be empty. Whenever I am selecting any activity, those set of properties will get populated here. So it has been interlinked once again with my activities. For each activity, the properties will get changed automatically. Just for example, I'm clicking on this plus icon just to add an activity. Now I'm typing my assign. Assign is nothing but you want to assign a value to a variable. You want to assign a value to a variable. Now you will be having some question. What is this red indication and what is this yellow indication here? If you see, okay. Okay. This red indicates an error in this action. Okay, in this action. The yellow indicates there are one or more errors in this sequence. So it is a critical error and it is a warning. It is a critical error and it is a warning. Without fixing this, we could not able to remove this warning. So what is the expected value from here? This is my activities which I have been extracted or imported from my activities panel just by clicking this plus icon. So I clicked on this assign activity, by which you can able to see a properties here. What are the properties it has been expecting? Value for the required activity argument 2 was not supplied, as well as value was not supplied. If you see, it is only 4 properties here. It has only 4 sub properties here. One is display name. Display name is nothing but this name. We can able to change, assign value to string. So I made a change here, it get populated here. Otherwise, we can directly click here. Instead of string, I want to rename it as variable. So I made a change here, as well as it has been populated here as well. So whatever information you have been providing in your properties, it will populated automatically in this section. Otherwise, whatever information you have been providing in your working area or in your main section, those value will get populated in our property section. If you see display name, I will just change set value. What is the value I need? Hello. Hello, I am just having it as a string value. If you see, I have provided my value by which one warning, one error information has get removed. One error information has get removed from here. Earlier it was 2 error information. So I want to create a variable, 2 variable, and this is my value. So in order to create a variable, you can click here, you can click on this plus icon, and you can able to create your variable using create variable. If you click on create variable, it will pop up a section here automatically by which you can able to provide the name. Just we will add something like string hello. I'm just creating a variable as a string hello. I created a variable. If I go to my variable section, it has been automatically populated here. It has been automatically populated here. So I want to create a variable from here. I want to create a variable from here. So I am creating a variable one more time. Int age. Int age. If you see, the variable type is string by default. By default, it is populated with string. I want to change it to my integer variable. So these are the various variable types available for us. By default, we will be having Boolean, integer, string, object, data table, arrays. Arrays is nothing but your single dimensional array, multi-dimensional array. So we can able to create n number of arrays using this. So whenever you have been creating a variable in the property section, it will create based on the data type. It will create based on the data type. Whereas if you create a variables in your variables panel, you can able to change on the go. You can able to change as per your requirement. So int age, I want to mark it as integer. I want to mark it as integer. Here also you can able to provide some default values if it is required. If you want to store some default information, yes, you can able to provide those information as well. So I have created a variable, and this variable I have created using my property section, and I created one more variables using my variable section or variable panel. Just I want to print this information. I want to print both of my information, and I want to assign value to my variable, and I want to assign value to my variable as my age variable. If you see, I'm just clicking here. I know my variable name, which is int age. I'm just typing it. I'm not going into my variables panel to click it. Otherwise, I'm not clicking on my plus icon to create a variable. Earlier, when I shown you, right, once I am clicking on this plus icon, it has shown us two values. One is open in advanced editor and create variable. Now you can able to see it has been giving us a different response, which is use variable, because there was a variable which is created already. There was a variable which is created already. So here I have a variable which is int age. I can directly type, and I can able to select it using the tab icon. I'm just typing it, by which it is getting populated automatically. I want to assign a value. This is of type what? It is of type integer. So I need to provide the value using integer type. Just I provide the value, by which the error message has disappeared here from here. Rather than that, if I provide using double quotes, what will happen? What I am getting here? An error information has been returned. An error information has been returned. If you see, the exact error information has been populated here. Exact error information has populated here. You can able to place your cursor to know your error information. Like in any IDE, whatever you have been using, right? If you have been making some mistakes, then the IDE will provide you those error. It will just highlight there was a error, right? Same way in our studio as well. If you have been passing some incorrect value, or if you have been missing to assign a value, then it will throw you an error, by which you can able to fix those error very easily. And in very short span of time. Without fixing this error, you can only be able to save or execute your code. So I place my cursor just to understand what is the error. Option strict on disallow implicit conversion. There was a conversion error from string to integer. I hope everyone would have learned something called type conversion. What is a type conversion? We'll be converting a variable from one type to other type. What is type? Type is once again a data type of a variable. It may be of a type integer, it may be of type list, it may be of type array, it may be of type string, boolean, n number of data types we have, right? Even for date and date time we have variables. So just assume I have a variable which holds 100. I want to convert those variable as a string. What we will be doing in Python, we will be just calling the variable, and we will be providing a dot, and we will be providing a keyword to convert it. Otherwise we will be using convert dot to int and within the bracket we will be providing the value. If you want to change the case of a string, we will be using the function called upper function and lower function, by which we will be changing any string type value from its case sensitivity. So the same way here also the conversion error has been returned, due to which the value could not be assigned to this variable. How I can able to fix it? I can able to fix it by removing the double quotes. Otherwise we have one function called cint. Cint is a function which has been invoked from your .NET. In that we can able to provide in double quotes. So by which my value will be converted to my integer type. My value will be converted to my integer type, even though you have provided it is in string format. So we have two type of conversion, right? One is explicit conversion, one is implicit conversion. So it follows the kind of conversion methodology to convert a variable to its respective type. So just I created two variable and I want to print, or I want to show those variable to the end user. What I can able to do, I have to just type the variable here, string allow, by which my value which is stored into my variable will get populated here. So I want to add this age as well. Your age is, if you see, it is giving me an error here. Your age is, it is giving me an error. It has been expecting to go with a round bracket which is missing, but here the error is something different. Why? Because string allow is a variable. Your age is the string value. So every string has to be encapsulated using double quotes, and for concatenation of multiple string, we will be using our plus sign. As well as you can able to use your ampersand sign. It is nothing but string concatenation. What is string concatenation? If you want to concatenate, or if you want to make a string by adding multiple different variables, we will be using something called string concatenation. So we have used this variable and we have performed a concatenation operation. Then we have provided some value here which is of type string. Then I want to have my integer variables as well. So I have provided my concatenation operator here. Then I have providing my integer variable. Once again I am getting an error. Oops, how to fix it? So this is an integer variable. If I place my cursor, once again I am getting an error. Option strict on disallow implicit conversion from string to double. What does this depicts to me? It could not able to convert an integer variable to a string variable, or it could not able to convert a double variable to string variable. Those kind of conversion cannot be happened by itself. In order to perform the conversion effectively, I want to make this integer variable to string variable. How we can able to make it? Just by using a piece of code after int age dot to string. So what is this? These are the various properties available in our .NET. These are the various properties available for a data type in .NET. So those values has been imported properly and we can able to use it. How it has been imported? If you see the namespaces, all these namespaces were a part of .NET. So using that, we have invoked it properly. So by which all our error messages has been removed and we are good to execute. So I'm just removing this error messages. I'm just clicking on it and I'm pressing my delete icon, delete button from my keyboard, by which the activities has been removed. So I'm clicking on save, and for execution you can press F5 from your keyboard, by which it will get executed. Just to know the shortcuts, F5 is to execute your code. It will execute, it will compile the code, and it will proceed with the execution. So it is compiling my activities just to ensure all my packages are properly placed and what are the activities I have used has been properly mapped in a sequential order, and there should not be any warnings in my code. So every steps will be get compiled properly, then it will execute in a sequential way. So it has started its execution. If you see here, there was a log message and it has just printed the information. If you see, it is not in a sentence format because there is no spacing between hello and there is no spacing between is and ten. Why? Because it could not able to add spaces between words. We need to provide spaces wherever it is required. So this is my string information. So I am adding a space in the front and at the end. Otherwise, I just prefixed and suffixed the spaces in this sentence. So whenever I am executing it, there will be a information. Rather than hello, I will add a name. Benton. We'll have something like this. Benton, your age is 10. So this is how we'll be creating a simple variable and we'll be using it, and how to create a variable and how to use it. Then comes an important area, scope of a variable. What is scope of a variable? Before we have been moving to the scope of the variable, we have an important section here, which is sequence flowchart state machine. What is sequence? Okay. In order to create some complex project, it was advised to go with state machine. By which we can able to perform multiple complex operation because it provides an effective error handling mechanism. If you want to go with effective process design by integrating multiple sequential operation and multiple looping and logical operation, then it is advised to go with flowchart. Because it will provide you more flexibility in terms of making multiple connectors to your flow. If you want to perform a straightforward operation like crossing a road. Crossing a road is a straightforward operation. You need to stand in front of the zebra line. The signal should go from green to red. Then you should be ready to cross the line. Where you need to cross, you need to walk over only your zebra line. Same way, it is a sequential operation. You will be waiting until the signal goes off from green to red. Then you will be walking towards your destination by using the zebra line. Same way, sequence is nothing but you will be starting from point A and you will be going to point B. From point A to point B, there won't be any loops, there won't be multiple if conditions. It will be a straightforward actions. So these are the major areas which we will be using as per the project complexity, as per the project demand. And we have few others as well, which is forms. Forms is nothing but a user form where an user can provide some information, where an user, end user. Say for example, you created automation for your department, where all your staffs can fill their information and they can able to submit. Based on their submission, there will be a certain set of report which will be extracted from your ERP system. Either it may be a Tally or it may be SAP, right? from those system it will be extracting all those information, and it will be preparing your report, and it will be sharing those report to your admin team. So it is an automation, piece of automation, just an use case. So here this form will be accessible by all your department leads, all your department members, where they can able to access it via browser. They can able to access. UiPath Studio installation is not required at the system, like an URL, like Google Forms or MS Forms or some Survey Monkey forms. So those kind of forms. Your forms can be created and it can be used for your automation. Workflow is nothing but we have been integrating multiple systems and you have been creating a flow. Like if you want to get a node use sign off, what are the different procedures we have? Everything is a workflow. You need to get a librarian approval. You need to get an approval from your staffs as well. Then we will be getting multiple approvals in terms of college fees to be paid. So those were the different node use, and we will be ensuring that all your library records has been get validated before you have been getting node use. So these are the different areas. It is a workflow kind of stuff. If every workflow has been completed successfully, then the final operation of providing you the hall ticket will be carried out. If there is a blockage in one of the approval in one of the workflow, then we could not be able to proceed further. We could not be able to proceed further in providing your hall tickets. So those kind of automation can be automated using the workflow. And global handler is nothing but an error handler mechanism. Wherever an error is occurred, it will capture those error information and it will process you either via email, or you can able to log those information into your log file or multiple other files. So these are the basic components. So if you see, we have spoken about sequence. Whenever I am creating a project, I will be landing up in my main page, because the main page is my root of my project. It will be my root of project. From main, I can able to create multiple components. So if you see, my main page will have a sequence. My main page will be in a sequence. So if you see, this is a sequence activity which has been invoked by default while you have been creating a project. So this is the stuff it has been done. Here, I want to add one more sequence. Rather than that sequence. So I'll just type the sequence. Now your sequence has been added here. I'm just renaming it as a child sequence. I hope everyone has learned access specifier, public, private, protected, right? Even some constant variables. In programming languages, they have provided some ifs and buts. Public can able to access all of the variable. Global variable can be used in n number of programming languages, where private variable will be within a function or within a module, and same way protected variable can be used only within the classes. I was quite hectic over there, and I would be quite skeptical just to understand how the variables has been used. What is this access specifier? Why they have been naming a variable with public, private, and other kind of keywords? What is the purpose of it? But when we have been using those kind of variable in a real world, there is more effectiveness towards it. There is no more effectiveness towards it, and it protects your variable. It protects your variable in terms of passing those information to the other modules. Say for example, you have been making a transaction. Using Google Pay. So using Google Pay, if you have been making a transaction, then the information what you provide should be a valid one. It should not get some additional information from your bank. It should not get some additional information. So whatever inputs you have provided is a protected one, and whatever it has processed is a protected one. The output is very, very protected, because it should not give you an output which may leak your data, Same way, here also the variable protection has been properly captured, which we learned via the access specifier. If you see in the child sequence, I'm just adding a variable, of type boolean. We will add a variable of type boolean. I'm just providing false here. Just I'm using my shortcuts Control K to create a variable. What kind of variable? Is flag. Just a variable of type flag. I set it as to false. If you see, there is an error. Why? Because we could not be able to convert the type on the go because I created a variable on the fly. I need to go once again to my variables panel where I can able to see the variable type is string. Oops. So it doesn't have enough artificial intelligence to sense it. So I need to change the type to my respective data type. So I changed, my error has gone, we are good. If you see, there is one more section. Here I add my false. If I click on variables panel, I can able to see something called scope. What is scope? Scope is nothing but your access specifier. Scope is nothing but your access specifier. Using that scope, we can able to protect your data. You can able to protect your data as well as you can able to avoid passing some incorrect information. Avoid passing some incorrect information or avoid passing some your critical information from one module to the other module. So here I'm just clicking on this sequence just to know what are the modules I have or what are the sequence or what are the sections I have. So here if you see, this variable can be accessed only within my child sequence, whereas this variable can be accessed by everyone. These variables can be accessed by everyone because it is a child of my parent class. Just I'm adding a message box here. Okay, instead of that we will be using something called a write line. We will learn new activity. What is the use of write line? It will just write those information in my output panel. Which we are not speaking so far. So here I have added a write line which is outside of my child, and I am trying to type the variable is flag. Whenever I'm typing the variable, it is not populating. Why? Because the scope of the variable has been limited within my child class. Okay. You may have one more question. I have typed it. There was a case sensitive area. Here the F is in uppercase. Here the F is in lowercase. So if you see, I'm just adding the same write line here. Here I'm just typing as is flag. Even though there was a typo error, still it is populating the variable which is available for me to use. Whereas in this scenario, it is not populating those information because it is outside of my scope. To perform the respective operation. So this is the scope of a variable. It is very, very important. Why? Because using the scope of variable, you can able to protect your information as well as data. So if I want my child variable to be accessed in my parent class, then I need to change my scope. How I can able to change? By using the child, I can able to change it to my main sequence so that all the variables can be accessed by main function. Where if you see, I am typing the same flag. The variable is populated here. If I provide dot to string just for a conversion, there was no error. By which whatever changes you have been making in the child class, the changes will get updated here as well. The same changes will get updated here as well. So just for our sake, we will add I just copied and pasted here. I'm just making a change of this variable from false to true. False to true. I just made a change. So based on this change, I'm going to execute. I'm just okay. The scope of the variable is initialized to main. So if you see, there was no initialization happened here. The first initialization has been happened in my child class, and we have been capturing this information. Then there was a reinitialization happened on the same variable. It has been assigned to true. If we have been retaining the scope, then okay, we will do one thing. We will create one more. This way we will have some child sequence and okay. Here I created two variables, one in my main sequence and one in my child sequence. So still it could not be possible here. Okay, here I am trying to import, which is not possible because I removed the scope. So just if you see, this is my first main section and this is my child section. I am clicking on my before that we will expand this one. Now I have clicked on my main section. I can able to see only two variables because the scope of these two variables has been defined within this main section. Now I am clicking on my child section. You can able to see there is one more variable which is added, which is called isFlag, by which the scope has been redefined, and we can able to use the existing variable which is created in my main sequence, and I can able to add one more variable in my child sequence, and which I can able to use within my child module. So now we will just remove this and we will try to execute and control save F5. If you see in the output panels, this information will get captured. This is flag information will get captured. This is the message box which we have in the top. So this information is get printed. Now in the output section, if you see, your files has been captured. How it has been captured here? By using my writeLine function. Now using my writeLine function. These are the default information for each of the execution based on the event, based on the operation whatever you have performed. This is the information which we passed from our bot. This is the information which we passed from our bot. If you have been interested in a web designing concept or in web development, you will be using something called console.log, where you will be loading all your information into your console. If you have been accessing your developer tools in any of the browsers like Edge browser or your Chrome browser, you can able to access those information in place. Same way, here we will be getting those information in our output panel as we see in our console. In order to capture the information in console, we will be using some function called console.log, whereas in order to capture those information into my output panels, we will be using some function called writeLine or an activity called writeLine. Okay, the next part as we move right is an arguments. What is an arguments? To use an argument, what I need to do, I need to go to my projects, and if you see I have only one main XAML. I am just clicking on it. I am clicking on expanding my home. Here I am clicking on new and I am creating a new sequence. I am creating a new sequence by which I am creating a new module. Some of sum of two numbers. Just a sequence I am creating. Create, and it will be within my project folder. Just ensure whatever steps you are done, whatever module you are done, everything has to be within your project. It should not be saved outside of your project. At runtime, it won't compile you properly. At runtime, it won't compile those module properly. If you see earlier, we have only one XAML, which is main XAML. Now we have one more XAML, which is called sum of two numbers. So this is the extension of this project, XAML, XAML. Okay, here as we have used a sequence, yes, there is a default sequence which is get created here. I'm just performing the sum of two numbers. I'm just having it in my assign operation. If I am creating a variable, control K to create a variable sum of numbers. Sum of numbers. So I need to have some values here. In order to create a value, I need to get those information from my main module, or from my main class. So I'm creating an argument here. The first argument is, it should be of its type. So it is of type input. So in value 1 and in value 2. So these are the two values I will be getting as an input, and it should be of type. It should be of type integer. If you have been creating in different types, you can able to convert it using conversion function, or you can use some other functions as well. So these are the two values I got as an input. From this, I'm just using those variable. If you see in value 1, it is my arguments. In value 2 is my arguments. I just provide those two information to add it and store the value to my result variable, which is sum of number. Once again, there is an error in terms of conversion. It could not be able to convert from integer to string. So I need to go once again to my variables panel, and I need to change the variable type to integer. Yeah, done. Now I can have some message boxes here just to print the value. Just to print the value. The sum of two numbers is okay. This is fixed. Now I'm saying this. When I go to my main function, here we'll be adding a action called invoke workflow. What we have been using, invoke workflow file. So using this, I can able to invoke. This nothing but you will be calling your function, right? You will be calling your function by function name, and you will be storing those result on a variable. Same thing here also, we will be having some function called invoke workflow file, where you can able to identify the module which you have created. So this is my module, and if you see, there is something called arguments. These are the two arguments which has been created in this function. These were the two arguments which is created in this function. So I need to pass some value 10, 100. So these were the two values I'm just passing. Otherwise, you can able to create some variables for this, and you can able to assign the values in the previous step itself. So everything is fine. So I'm just clicking on OK. Now earlier it was in yellow. Now it has been moved to blue. So we have fixed those errors. We have passed those parameters, and I'm just clicking on save. So those two information has been captured and it has been processed. Now okay, I'm just executing this program just to show you how the information has been passed from one function to the other function, or one module to other module. Main has initiated the first message boxes, and Now, if you see sum of two numbers, the sum of two numbers is not in my main function, it is in my sum of two numbers function. If you see, this is the variable where it has these two values, int value 1 and int value 2, which we passed from main function, and it get added, it gets summed up, and it has been stored into my sum variable, and it has been printed here, and it has been printed here, by which we will be getting this result. So the entire execution is completed. This is called arguments. This is called arguments. Here, the next property which we need to see is my direction. Direction will be available only in my arguments panel. It won't be available in my variables panel, because variable is within the project, variable is within the file or within the class function which you are creating, whereas arguments is the link between one file to the other file, or the one XAML file to the other XAML file. So here direction we have four types, we have three and one property type. It may be input, it may be an output, it may be either of the both, like you can use it as an input and output, otherwise you can define it as a property. The best property is what we have used is dot to string. Dot to string is one of the property of our .NET class, .NET programming languages, where we won't be defining anything, right? Same way, we can able to create properties as well. This is called the direction of an argument. This is called the direction of an argument. Here also we will be having all type of data types, like we will be having boolean, integer, string, array, list, multi-dimensional array as well. So these are the different types in an arguments. Yeah, I hope I have covered everything for today's topic. Okay. Any questions? Satish, sir, you can enable the chat. Hello. Team, yeah, kindly prepare the.
Yes. I'll enable the chat now.
Okay, sir.
Yes. Chat is enabled now. Students, if you have any queries, you can ask. Bhaskaran, I think it is enabled for you as well.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, team, come up with the questions what you have, at least say whether you learned something, whether you understood it clearly or not. If something is unclear, can you let me know? Yeah, thank you, Tarun. Whether at least you understood something from this session? Anybody?
I think there is no questions from the students. Students, we have an important information. At the end of the day on Friday, end of the workshop, you may be getting 15 questions. That will be an assessment question. So once you clear the assessment question, you will be getting the certificates, e-certificates. Bhaskar, can we close close today's session?
Yeah, if everyone is fine, we are good to close.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. We'll meet you again by tomorrow morning. Same time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Satish. Thank you, entire team. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.